Hey, what's good people, man? Platinum Bit of Dread. Let me tell you a story, yeah? Well, it's not my own story. For those that are familiar with the Bible, it's called the Prodigal Son. And I'm going to give my own little modern twist on it, if you don't mind, of course. There was a man who had two sons. And he had raised them all their life by himself because his wife died when the boys were infants. So he'd raised them. And they had the normal relationship son and fathers do. Father and sons do. You know, taking out the trash and, he's teaching them and, doing their schoolwork and being obedient, the stuff that we do. And everything was nice. But then as they grew and puberty hit and they got older, they started getting more exposed to their peers and the media. And one of the sons one day turned around and said to his father, "This is boring. All we do is cook, go shopping, and it's just boring. We don't do anything. Yeah, we play a few games together and we go out on little trips, but we don't really do anything. And my friends are out there partying and stuff. And I want some of that life." Interestingly enough, the other son didn't share the same view. But anyway, the dad, being very wise, knowing that this day might come, he didn't force him because he knew the worst thing you could do is force anything when it comes to learning. So he reluctantly let him go, and his son went forth, joined his friends, and started living the life, quote unquote, partying, the girls, coming in. Well, he didn't even come in late. He had gone. He was staying with a friend, partying every night, hitting the drugs and the alcohol. Life was just blissful, man. You didn't have to worry about tomorrow. He was always high. And it was just exciting. Meanwhile, his brother was at home, continuing to do what he does, being obedient and tidying up and taking on listening to the wisdom of his father. And his other brother, who was out there wilding out, was loving it. But then his money began to run out. So it weren't so cool. But his friends, being good friends, quote unquote, they pitch in, and so they were still enjoying life. But then something happened. He wasn't enjoying it as much. He began to not only miss his father's wisdom and his brother's closeness, but he felt like he just wasn't enjoying it as much. And as he was watching his friends and they was all at the partying and the girls and all of that, he started to feel a little bit empty and alone. And he kept it to himself because he didn't want to appear like he was uncool and stuff, So he continued. But the more he continued, the more alone and the more sad he felt, and the more he missed his family. The simplicity and the security and the realness of his family. But he was too afraid to go back home because he felt his dad would just scold him and tell him not to come back. He's not welcome there anymore. So he kept on going, but he became more and more conflicted. And so one day he said to himself, "You know what, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to go home. If Daddy tells me I'm not welcome anymore, at least I tried." And he began to his friends began to slowly pick up on it, the fact that he wasn't, quote unquote, himself. So they started to call him boring and a geek and, make fun of him. And then it got to a point where they didn't even want him around anymore because as far as they were concerned, he wasn't one of them. And he, still conflicted and still sad, he left the group feeling really alone and then made his way back home. His dad, as he was washing the dishes, looked out of the window and to his shock and joy, he saw his son making his way back to his door, to the house. And he ran out, said to his other son that was in the house, my son has come back." And ran out even before he got to the door to meet him and gave him a big hug. And his son, who he hugged, was confused because he couldn't understand that his dad was joyful to see him. And he said, "But Dad, I was, look what I said, look all the things I said, look what I've been doing." He said, "No, son, you're back." you're back. We're gonna have a treat. We're gonna cook something that you both like, and we're gonna, and he brought him back into the house. And then after the elation and all the excitement and the food and all of that, his other son came to him quietly and said, Dad, he was angry with him and upset. He said, I don't understand, because I was there being obedient and doing everything you asked me to do, but yet you never showed this kind of elation and excitement for me. And his dad said, son, you've always been with me. You've always been here. You were never lost. You didn't need to be lost to find yourself. You was always here. Now, let me turn around. Now, let me try and relate that to modern days. Imagine now, if the Father is our higher self, the one God, the Most High Supreme, Allah, God, Yahweh, whatever word you want to use. That's the Father, right? The wise one. Imagine if the two sons are two sides to yourself. And, we decide one day, or you decide one day, you're bored, you want to stretch your wings and go out there and enjoy the life. And you do that, which is what most teenagers do.
Yes.
But then the more you do it, the more you feel like you're losing yourself. And then the other son represents that part of you that you feel is really you. But because of all the noise and all the distractions, hey doggy, because of all the noise and all the distraction, you feel that's the right thing to do, but you get more and more lost. And the more and more you feel like the obedient son, the one that is close to the center of where God is you. But you're fighting it because you don't want to let your friends down, or you don't want to seem like the odd one out. And then one day you realize, I can't do this anymore because I don't know who I am anymore. And so you connect with the Father. And you feel like he's going to scold you because, you've always known what's right to a degree, but you fought it. But you come back, you go through meditation, you go through prayer, you go through reflection, contemplation, the things you read. And then you make that connection back to the Most High One. And you realize that you were lost, but you needed to get lost. You needed to be lost to find out who you are. And the reason why the Supreme One embraced you is because he knew. He knew you needed to lose yourself in order to find yourself. And you found yourself through no force, but by simply coming to a realization that wasn't you. It wasn't you. Platinum bearded red. What do you think, man? Let me know your thoughts, yeah? Oh, yeah, don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe or something. And we'll do this again. Yeah, man.